In 1974, farmers digging a well near the Chinese city of Xi'an struck something hard beneath the earth. At first, they thought they had found an old bronze object or perhaps the head of a forgotten statue. What they had actually discovered was the entrance to one of the greatest archaeological mysteries in history. Buried underground stood an army. Thousands of life-sized soldiers waited in silent formation. There were infantrymen, archers, officers, charioteers, and horses. Many carried real bronze weapons. No two faces appeared exactly alike. They had remained hidden for more than 2,000 years. But the strangest question was not how this army had been created. It was what they were guarding. The soldiers were not placed inside an ordinary tomb. They formed only one part of an enormous underground world constructed for Qin Shi Huang, the man who became the first emperor of a unified China. At the center of that world lies a burial chamber that has never been opened. What is inside it? And why did one of history's most powerful rulers believe he would need an entire army after death? To understand the Terracotta Army, we must first understand the man who ordered it. Qin Shi Huang was born in 59 BC, during an age when China was divided into rival kingdoms. For centuries, these states had fought one another for territory, wealth, and survival. Armies became larger, weapons became more efficient, warfare grew increasingly brutal. The young ruler inherited the kingdom of Qin, a highly organized and militarized state in western China. One by one, Qin's armies defeated their rivals. In 21 BC, the last independent kingdom fell. For the first time, much of the Chinese world was united under a single ruler. The king of Qin believed the old title of king was no longer sufficient. He created a new title for himself, Huangdi, usually translated as emperor. He called himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of Qin. His achievements transformed China. His government standardized systems of writing, currency, measurements, and administration. It built roads and connected defensive fortifications. Officials were appointed to govern territories that had once belonged to hereditary aristocrats. The new empire was designed to obey one central authority, but unification came at a terrible cost. The Qin state relied on severe laws, mass labor, and harsh punishment. Hundreds of thousands of people were mobilized for roads, palaces, canals, military campaigns, and imperial construction projects. Among those projects was the emperor's mausoleum. Work may have begun when he was still a young king. Over the following decades, the burial complex grew into something far greater than a tomb. It became another empire beneath the ground. The terracotta warriors are located more than a kilometer from the main burial mound. They appear to have been positioned to defend the emperor's underground domain. From the east, the direction from which Qin's former enemies might symbolically return. The largest excavated pit contains ranks of soldiers arranged like a real military formation. At the front stand archers and lightly armored troops. Behind them are columns of infantry and war chariots. Other pits contain cavalrymen, officers, and senior commanders. This was not a random collection of statues. It was an army prepared for battle. The figures were originally far more colorful than they appear today. Their robes and armor were painted in strong reds, greens, blues, purples, and other colors. But after being exposed to the air, much of the fragile paint quickly faded or peeled away. The gray warriors we see today are only the skeleton of their original appearance. Each figure was constructed from clay, but they were not simply stamped from a single mold. Different body parts were produced through organized workshops and then assembled. Craftsmen altered hairstyles, armor, clothing, facial hair, and expressions, creating the impression of individual human beings. Some look young, others appear experienced and weathered. Officers wear more elaborate armor. Generals stand taller and carry an unmistakable sense of authority. These may not be portraits of specific soldiers, but together they preserve an extraordinary image of the army that conquered China. Many warriors once held real weapons. Archaeologists have discovered bronze swords, spearheads, crossbow components, and other military equipment. Some weapons were still remarkably sharp when excavated. This army was not created merely to decorate the emperor's tomb. It was equipped to protect him. But protect him from what? In ancient China, death was not necessarily understood as the complete end of existence. The dead might continue to require food, possessions, servants, and protection. Earlier rulers were sometimes buried with animals, valuable objects, and even sacrificed human beings. The Terracotta Army may represent a transformation of that tradition. Instead of burying thousands of living soldiers, Qin Shi Huang ordered the creation of clay replacements, but there may have been a deeper reason. The first emperor had made countless enemies. He had destroyed 6 rival kingdoms. He had conquered their capitals, removed their ruling families, and forced large populations to accept his authority. He had also survived assassination attempts. One famous attacker approached him with a hidden dagger. Another tried to crush him with a heavy metal weapon while he was traveling. Qin Shi Huang lived as a conqueror, surrounded by the memory of those he had defeated. Perhaps he feared that his enemies would follow him into the next world. If so, the Terracotta Army was more than a symbol of military glory. It was an expression of anxiety. The emperor who had conquered everything was still afraid. That fear also shaped his search for immortality. Qin Shi Huang sent expeditions to look for legendary islands and substances said to prolong life. Court specialists offered medicines and elixirs. Some of these preparations may have contained mercury, a poisonous substance that ancient people sometimes believed possessed magical properties. The emperor wanted to escape death. Yet while searching for eternal life, he was also preparing obsessively for death. The world beneath his burial mound was designed to allow him to continue ruling. According to the ancient historian Sima Jin, the central tomb contained palaces, towers, precious objects, and a model of the empire. Mercury was said to flow mechanically through channels representing China's rivers and seas. The ceiling supposedly displayed the heavens, while the floor represented the earth. Automatic crossbows may have been placed to fire at intruders. Whether every detail of this account is accurate remains uncertain. The central chamber has not been excavated. Modern surveys have detected unusually high concentrations of mercury in the soil around the burial mound, which gives some support to the ancient description. But no one knows exactly what survives inside. Archaeologists are cautious for a good reason. When the terracotta warriors were first exposed, their painted surfaces deteriorated rapidly, opening the main tomb without the ability to preserve everything inside could destroy information that has survived for more than 2 millennia. There are also serious structural challenges. Excavating the chamber could cause part of it to collapse. For now, the emperor remains underground, and the unopened tomb has allowed the mystery to grow. The warriors we see may represent only a small portion of the entire complex. Archaeologists have found more than soldiers. Excavations have uncovered bronze chariots, officials, entertainers, strongmen, musicians, and figures associated with animals. There are also pits containing horses and birds. This suggests that the underground complex was intended to reproduce not only an army, but an entire imperial court and administration. Qin Shi Huang did not want a simple burial place. He wanted another capital. The Terracotta Army guarded the outer edge of an artificial universe in which the emperor could remain at the center forever. But history had other plans. Qin Shi Huang died in 10 BC while traveling through his empire. The court tried to keep his death secret, while the imperial procession returned toward the capital. Soon afterward, political conspiracies, rebellion, and civil war tore the Qin dynasty apart. The empire that had seemed permanent collapsed only a few years after its founder's death. Parts of the mausoleum were damaged. The wooden roofs above the army pits collapsed, crushing many of the statues. There is evidence that sections were burned and weapons were removed. The underground army could not defend the Qin dynasty. It could not prevent rebellion. It could not save the emperor's family. But in another sense, it succeeded. For more than 2,000 years, the warriors continued to stand beside their ruler. They preserved the memory of his armies, his ambition, and the extraordinary power of the state he created. Today, we look at their faces and see soldiers, but we are also looking at the fears of one man. Qin Shi Huang had united kingdoms, defeated armies, and reshaped an entire civilization. He controlled millions of people, yet he could not control time. The Terracotta Army was built to guard him from enemies, spirits, and perhaps death itself. It may be protecting hidden treasures beneath the burial mound. It may be guarding a model of the first Chinese empire. But above all, it guards the final contradiction of Qin Shi Huang. The man who wanted to live forever created an army of clay. His empire quickly disappeared. His soldiers remained.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to the 9th Courtyard. Beyond the first 8 courtyards lies the story you were never told.